Welcome back to Overanalyzing Everything, the podcast where we dig way too deep in the stories we love. My name is Jessica.
And I'm Bailey, and today's episode is titled Introducing My Daughter to Fairy Smut. Yes, we're going there.
And she's the daughter.
Yes.
So a little disclaimer today, we're discussing fantasy romance with some very spicy chapters. So this one's for mature ears. So what is in our cup today? What's in your cup?
It's lavender honey, and I thought there would be no chamomile. I was like 90% sure. But now I'm like tasting hints of chamomile, and I'm regretting it.
You were so excited about that.
I don't like chamomile. It's one of the only. I think it's one of the only teas I just can't. I just can't. I love tea,
but I don't like chamomile. I like it. It's better when you add honey to it. But
this needs honey. It's called lavender honey. I'm not tasting the honey. I taste chamomile and a little bit of lavender
and lies.
Yes.
Well, mine is almond amaretto tea from Tea Chino, which I enjoy.
I actually did have this tea one other time, and it was at like 3 a.m. So I like was drinking it, and I didn't realize there was chamomile in it. But now that I'm like awake, there's chamomile.
Yeah, you're like really thinking about that chamomile. I see yours has a quote on it though.
It
You want to read your quote? Does mine have a quote?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the mug.
No, the little tags. I love when the tags have quotes.
Okay. A man's health can be judged by which he takes two at a time, pills or stairs. What?
I'm going to have to think about that one.
Me too.
On which he takes two at a time? Pills or stairs? It's like steps. I thought it was like stare, like people staring at him.
Yeah.
But it's like...
So it can be judged by whether he takes two steps at a time or two pills at a time. Okay.
Well, that's very judgy in general. I don't like that one.
Yeah, that's very judgy. Don't like that one. Next.
Plenty of healthy people also take pills.
Yes.
Come on, guys. It's 2025. And plenty of unhealthy people can't take stairs. Come on. Right? Wait, did I say that right? Plenty of healthy people.
Yeah.
I said that wrong. No, I said that wrong, but I really want to say that. Plenty of healthy people also cannot take stairs, and that's fine. Like, what? Come on. This was a very judgy tea bag.
It's very judgy.
Ugh, for being chamomile, too.
I know. Like, I'm judging this tea bag. Maybe it's like judging everyone back.
Yeah, it's that girl.
In return for me being mad at it for being chamomile.
All right, so what is ACOTAR? I think we should first explain this, but also I will say I feel like there's going to be some spoilers in this episode, so
there will be. Yes.
I hope people who watch this have read the first two books. We're not going to go deep into the second book, but we are going to definitely touch upon.
Let me just say,
main things about it.
I count the second book as the first book, and the first one is a prequel.
This is kind of a spoiler alert to our overall feelings of the whole series, but yes, there's so much happens when you've read the second book. It is so critical.
The second book is better than the first one for sure.
We're not even there yet though. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So first of all, just as a little refresher, what is ACOTAR, which is the abbreviation for A Court of Thorns and Roses?
There's some fairies. There's a girl who's a hunter who gets kidnapped by a fairy, and then she falls in love with her kidnapper.
I wrote down the whole wrote it down fancy, like a fancy synopsis, Bailey.
Well,
you were just ready.
I know the plot. I read it.
I read it too.
Yeah.
So we've got Feyre.
Yes, Feyre.
The huntress.
Feyre's the huntress. She kills a fairy, and then another fairy comes, and he's like, "How dare you kill that fairy? And I'm gonna kidnap you now because I have to." And then he kidnaps her, and then she's stuck with him, and then she falls in love with him.
And his name is Tamlin.
His name's Tamlin. I'm not gonna say
I'm just
what I want
to the details right now, just slightly, just for a little to get us all on the same page.
Yeah. So there's Tamlin, and then there's. I always say his name wrong. I'm just gonna continue to say his name wrong.
It's Rhys.
It's Rise.
It's definitely Rhys.
I've read it as Rise. Rysand.
And he's barely there till like the end of the book. Like
Yeah,
you don't
so
even
he's, like,
realize
kinda
it.
there.
But okay,
He's
wait.
like
We're
sneakily in
We're
there.
gonna get ahead of ourselves again. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to talk about this book. I actually was like really thinking about this last night, and I had this little revelation. So Bailey, tell me if you think I'm crazy or not.
Okay.
Okay. So I was thinking. So Tamlin, he's like a fairy.
Yes, he's a fairy.
And that's kind of what, like, a lot of people are kind of judgy about this book because it's like funny, the idea of like fairies and stuff, but it's not like a Tinkerbell tiny little fairy fluttering around. It basically just means like kind of superhuman, like not in the human category, stronger, and like other supernatural characteristics that this author like puts on these fairies. And they are
But it's also spelled different and it looks cooler.
Yeah, like super. Well, this is actually my point. Okay. So I was thinking about it and I was thinking about all the similarities that the book has to Beauty and the Beast, because it's like definitely a Beauty and the Beast knockoff. The first book is like 100% Beauty and the Beast knockoff, and kind of a Cinderella knockoff with like the beginning with her sisters and her family. Like it definitely gives Cinderella vibes to me.
It's like it's like an adult fairy tale.
That's exactly. You went right in my point. Okay.
Yeah.
Fairy tale.
Yes.
So like fairies, like not necessarily fairy from like fairies, but like almost like fairy tale. Like he's a character from a fairy tale almost. Anyway, that was just going through my brain. Do you get what I'm saying?
Pretty sure that's the point of it.
That's fairy tale, so that's why they're called fairies?
I think they are fairies.
No, but that's not what I mean is like it has like, I don't know. It reminds me of like the name almost, and the characters come from almost like the story, like the genre of fairy tale, more so than like the little tiny fairies that you think of when you think of like Tinkerbell. But it's not supposed to, but I was just kind of thinking about that. It was late at night. It might have been early in the morning. It was in that time of night. But anyway, I just had a moment where I was like, oh, what if it's almost because there's so much connection to fairy tales, and that's why they're fairies. Anyway.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I feel like the second one almost feels like a fairy tale as well. But it's like a fairy tale that I've like half read. Does that make sense? Like
it's not as overtly Beauty and the Beast.
It's
the knockoff.
I've read so many fairy tales. I get them all mixed together because I used to read like Grimm's fairy tales, Hans Christian Andersen, a whole bunch of different fairy tales. Like every single one that was written by the Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen, I read all of them.
Yeah.
So I get them all like muddied up, like all mixed together. So I'm pretty sure I've read something similar to that.
Yeah. I don't know what it alludes to, but I see what you're saying. One thing I want to get out of the way before we get like any further into the book is the fact that like a lot of people know these particular books. They have like a reputation for being kind of scandalous.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of unfortunate. Like, I think it's like sad that like people are like, I will get comments when we talk about it, and people are always like, oh my gosh, fairy smut, you're reading fairy smut, which I'm like, I kind of like to take as like people saying that lightheartedly and in a fun way, like I would say it. But I do think some people like maybe like genuinely think negatively in that, or like are like dismissive of it because it's like fairies.
Yeah, there's so much more to the books than just that. Like there's a lot.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about Love Actually the other day, and like it's such a good movie, and there's like a portion that's like kind of wildly inappropriate that you don't think of, but you don't like, nobody talks about Love Actually as like the movie with the people who are doing the like those scenes that are pretty naked and scandalous. Like you don't talk about it like
you
that.
Talk about like the scene with the sign.
Yeah. So why is it that when a book has like a single chapter that like is pretty graphic, that's like all it's known as? Because to me there's so much more to it, and that's not really like the critical part of any of it. Like the fact that it has that, I'm just kind of like, okay. It was a critical point in like deciding at what age I wanted to introduce it to my kids, I would say, because it is very graphic and like everybody should sort of be aware of that and like choose appropriately. But I think that especially when you take this book and then the contrast to this book and the development of making choices in relationships and like finding somebody who treats you I was thinking about this a lot too. I was thinking this character Tamlin, what you discover, we're getting into spoiler zone.
Sorry.
Is that Tamlin essentially is looking for like a trad wife. He's looking for an object. He's looking for, I think he thinks that he loves, but he has like, he almost thinks of her like as a thing or something that he has control over. And there's a lot of like, there's an interesting discussion of like power dynamic because he is significantly older than her, right? Because he's like an old fairy. Well, I mean, so like hundreds of years. Like we're talking like Edward and Bella. I know. But there's like a power dynamic, not just with like age, but also like with power. Like he's a fairy and she's a human and she's like, he could squish her like a bug basically is like the idea. So there's this like interesting element of their relationship where it's formed while there's this massive power dynamic, which I think is a really good
another thing is
I just think it's a really good similarity for a young woman to see that, because it reminds me almost of like the cliche of like an 18-year-old young woman dating like a 35, 40-year-old man, and both of them justifying it. Like often the young woman's like, well, I'm really mature. And then the man's like, oh, they have their own reasons. And maybe when the 18-year-old would grow up to be closer to that age, they realize, oh, there was a power dynamic there that was actually like unhealthy for whatever reason. And you see this incredible contrast in this book where the power dynamic shifts and she's more equal, and this character isn't looking for a trad wife or an object that he can control. He's looking for a partner and somebody who he like really respects and sees as an equal. And this, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I was into the romance. I saw the unhealthy elements, like I could kind of like. And I'm not saying that like the necessary physical relationship was great. Well, but like I was into it.
As soon as he got to that like weird festival thing, I was like, oh heck no.
I wasn't like 100% oh heck no. I was just like, it was more like I forgive in romance settings sometimes where I'm like, okay, like this wouldn't be the relationship I'd want, but like this is fun to read, or like it was like okay, fun, and. I mean, I didn't go and get a Tamlin tattoo afterward. I'd recommend not doing that if you haven't read the second one.
I really recommend not doing that. Do people do that?
It's happened, and it's wild. That's like my favorite TikTok ever, seeing the Tamlin tattoo. But then you get to this, you see the relationship and the differences and what it looks like to be like really deeply respected and to be cared for like as an equal. And for the power dynamic to shift, and not in a way that like intimidates the man. Like the partner, Reese, like he looks at her, he likes that she's strong. He likes that she could be stronger than him. Like he's just wants her to be her potential, and that's awesome. Like that's I think a really healthy thing for a young woman to see modeled to them. And I think it like far eclipses the naughty chapters as far as like being important. So anyway, those are my big thoughts.
Another thing is, sorry, more about.
No, please, it's you. I talked for a while. Take it over.
You did talk for a while.
You're like, I know, it was really painful for me.
Another thing is, Tamlin couldn't tell when she was like suffering, when she was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. Whenever I'm not gonna phrase this right. Tamlin couldn't see when she was hurting. Like he couldn't see when she needed help, and he was too busy with his own problems.
Do you think he couldn't see, or he didn't want to see and cared more about seeing her as he wanted her to be? So like she would tell him she was hurting, and she would tell him, I don't want to be here, or I want out, and he trapped her. Remember, that was a big part of the first book, and when she really
I was actually honestly talking more about the second book. Like, I mean, the amount of PTSD she must have had from the first book. I mean, obviously, it's like clearly shown throughout that book, but Tamlin doesn't talk to her about it at all. He doesn't like try and help her. He just kind of sees her every once in a while, and then the rest of the time just goes around being High Lord.
Well, and I think he suggests that she be a way that he wants her to be.
Yeah.
So, like, when she wants to expand or do more, like, learn and educate herself on, like, skills she could have, he kind of shuts that down and gives her a dress, you know? And it's interesting because she starts out, like, as her human self, she's the hunter. She's the person who survived and helped her whole family survive when they were falling apart and couldn't. And she was a very strong person and a woman. And he wanted to kind of erase that part of her. And he would say it was because he wanted to keep her safe. And in a lot of ways, it was obvious it was because he wanted to keep her controlled and like where he wanted her. But that was his, like, he didn't see her as her individual self.
Yeah.
It was more of an extension of himself and his wants for her.
Yeah. And, like, it's crazy. There's so many, like, little details throughout, like, especially if you go back and look at the first book again.
And that's what's so great about the second book is they shine the light on the first book.
Yeah, they completely flip it. Especially there's one chapter that I love
So
where
good.
it completely flips your entire perspective on the whole thing.
It's so brilliant. And what I think is what I was saying before by like the first book, I was kind of like, okay, sure, Team Tamlin. Like, I do feel like in a lot of ways it sucks you in like a very typical romance novel or movie or otherwise. And you forgive things that seem like kind of bad, but you're like, all right, I just love this love. And I think that's all. And also experience, like real human experience. I think it really shows that getting swept up and like loving somebody and loving the relationship that you're in and not necessarily seeing the unhealthy elements. And the second book just shows it so well. It shows like what healthy can be.
Yeah. There's another thing, like the thing, you know, when he like took stuff from people for no reason. You know that part?
I'm trying to remember. Do you mean Tamlin?
Yes, Tamlin, not Reese. It was in the second book. There was one chapter where he like
took powers from people or skills.
No, he like took the last of what people had for no reason. Like he didn't need it. He just took it because it was tradition.
Oh, yeah. It was like the reaping or something, and it was tradition for him as like the high fae to take things from the town.
Yeah.
And she questioned, like, and he was just like, no, this is tradition. And that's kind of what I was saying, like, by making her like a trad wife of sorts. Like, it's tradition for him and being limited to that type of thinking as opposed to expanding your thought process on things. And I think that in a way almost showed him as young. I think that's part of it too for him, is that even though he's like hundreds of years old as a fae, like I still think like there's an element that's like gosh, this is a good question. Like, is he a forgivable character? Is he somebody you can forgive as a character? And I do think there's parts of him, I don't mean forgive like she should go to him for a relationship, but I mean like areas where you see like he was still growing and developing.
I feel like it kept getting worse though, because like the further into it I get, the more terrible he is. Okay, so
he does have some redeeming.
I finished the pink book.
Yeah.
The pink book, and he was in it for like one scene, and it was the worst. No, he was in the like first few chapters, right? But then he was in a scene in like the middle of the book, and he just showed up and just was the worst. Mm-hmm. He was just there to be the worst.
Yeah. And we're mostly talking about their relationship, I think, right now, the sort of the love triangle relationship, but there are definitely other characters and there's more to these books.
Yeah.
But they get expanded upon more in other books as well.
I always loved I think her name's Amryn, the girl.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The like little lady.
I love her so much.
Yeah, she's great. Okay. So
are
you out of tea?
Yeah.
You didn't even like that tea.
I didn't like it, but I like had something else I was doing that wasn't talking.
You know
at the
what?
same
Just
time.
read the quote over and over to yourself.
No.
I've also heard so many times from people that have recommended the other series that she did. Didn't you start that the other day?
I did start it. I really want to keep reading it.
What's it called?
Throne of Glass.
Throne of Glass.
Very similar name for some reason because throne.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mind immediately like associated the names with.
And
being
I've
the same.
heard that there's a lot less like romance in that one, so that one might be a little less explicit.
It's really good
or
so
not
far.
explicit
I've
at
just
all.
been
I don't
busy.
know. If you're looking for like the something like this, but you're kind of like concerned about those parts.
Also, thank you, Abby, for the book.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're
So
watching.
here's my question, Bailey. This to me is just fun to do.
Yes.
So when you think of ACOTAR,
Yes.
if it were coming out as a show or a movie, which it almost did on Hulu, and I think they've scrapped it, which is so unfortunate. But if they were making the show or movie, who would you cast in the main three roles? In like Tamlin,
I think
Farrah.
Reese is hard.
Reese.
Reese is hard.
I have an idea for Reese.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Farrah. All of this is hard. I feel like I know a lot of people who. I don't know. I don't know like current actors.
I think that's it too. Is like I have a vision of like I love the idea of like Keira Knightley, but way a long time ago. Like I don't know what she looks like now. I'm assuming she does stuff. Maybe she looks the exact same because a lot of celebrities do that these days. But like when she was in Pirates of the Caribbean, like that's how I see Farrah and like that era of Keira Knightley and when she was in Pride and Prejudice. So like 2005. I'm sure there are a lot of actresses that kind of give that today, but I don't know their names. They're like different era for me.
Like Millie Bobby Brown, maybe?
Could you see Millie Bobby Brown doing that?
No,
I couldn't really.
I feel like I see her as someone else, like, but in it.
Hey, what's the show that you love that she does?
Enola
Enola Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that I feel like almost is like a similar spunk.
Yeah.
But I don't see her as that character.
Me neither.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know.
But for Reese, I see Theo James, and he's probably too old. Again, it's like part of it is that I'm old, so like these actors have like aged, and that's who I like think of. I think it depends on like how old you are when you're reading it for cat, like you see your own age and things. But Theo James, I'm trying to think of how you would know him, but he was the guy in Downton Abbey who like died.
I remember that guy.
And I would not say Theo James in Downton Abbey. That he is not the same person. But when his hair is cut really short and he's like, I think he's Mediterranean. Like I looked into his sort of like I don't know. I looked into him and he's got a lot of like interesting, like his heritage is interesting. And I think Reese is supposed to have like a Mediterranean look. I think I was really serious about this one time and I was like trying to figure it out. So that's kind of who I would go with. And then for Tamlin, I have another one for Tamlin. I would cast, I don't know if you know who this is, but I would cast Jacob Elordi. And I think that is actually age accurate. So that's like my best casting, I think, is Jacob Elordi.
I literally have no idea.
You have no idea who that is? He was in Euphoria, and I think him in Euphoria is like a good like Tamlin. Anyway, and he was also in something I watched the other day. What was it? I don't know. I can't remember. But do you have anybody that you would cast?
I'm trying to think. I literally can't think of anyone. I don't know celebrities. Like I don't know.
Even like somebody in a
people.
movie you've watched. You could name characters from other movies.
This is too hard.
Okay, never mind. I like am thrilled by casting. Like I think it's so fun.
I like doing it too, but when I can't find people to cast, it's hard.
You just imagine in your brain.
I just imagine a person.
All right. Okay, Bailey.
There's a person And it is that person.
All right. So what is your takeaway, like, in general, after having read this book and reading this book and, like, knowing your mom's read this book? Like, was that weird for you?
Maybe a little bit, especially with certain chapters. But I did like it.
Yeah.
It was nice to have someone to talk to about it. About, like, there's a lot of really important themes to discuss in it. I didn't really think as much about those scenes.
Right. Like, we definitely, like, we didn't talk about those scenes.
They just sort of happened, and then I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Mostly. And
you're like, I didn't even read it. I skipped those parts.
I was like reading it, and I was like, oh, next part, next plot.
But, like, I think relationship wise and, like, getting to talk about sort of, like, toxic relationships and all that we had so many good discussions about that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's not something I don't often see in literature and films as much, where there's this relationship that honestly the main character thinks is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They can even convince the audience that it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets to a certain point where everything flips on you and you realize, oh, that was terrible. Like, you're realizing right along with Feyre how bad it is.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think is so fascinating about these books is you feel like you're Feyre.
Yeah.
Like, you see these relationships grow and progress, and you're like, wow, seems okay. And then he's just the worst. And you didn't even realize until you know. And then
I totally agree.
Another thing is this book, the first 200 pages?
I was just about to bring this up too. It's 70 pages. I feel like this author, the first 70 pages of her books are so hard to get through. All of them.
This one in particular.
And this one in particular is, when you look back, to me, it is justified. And to me, it's like brilliant writing because of the fact that it's justified. Except it would be a lot more brilliant writing if the other books weren't as unbearable to get through the beginnings.
I mean, they aren't as unbearable to get through.
They're not
This one, absolutely unbearable. No, I didn't like it.
And what you realize later, or at least what my justification for it, is that, like, it's unbearable because the character is experiencing the unbearable. Like, she's so uncomfortable and so sad, and you're just getting, like, sucked down into that alongside her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, like, it's really interesting, but also you have to get through it, which is, like, it's a lot to ask.
I mean, she does too. So
she does too.
It's really just it was very annoying, but looking back on it, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I also think it was critical to get you to the point where, and her to the point where she could break from that love from the first book, because the love story is so strong and so intense, and her love is like, I will die for you. I am going to die for you. I love you so much at the end of the first book. And for her to break from that, you really have to have this, like, long period of suffering, and it's not obvious. Like, she's getting ready to marry him, and throughout that she's suffering. And you're so quickly, like, thrown into something that's better, something that starts reflecting, like, this is how you should be treated. This is how you're treated as an equal. This is what you're missing and wanting. And it's just so well done. And I'm so glad you brought up how hard it is to read those the beginning.
It's so hard.
I was definitely that is a critical thing to bring up. I'm still actually stuck on the very last book that's out right now because of this.
That's why I'm stuck on the like Christmas special one.
The Christmas special is the Christmas, but
can I skip that one? Is it important?
Just read it. It's so short, but I know it's so. There's, like, There are 5 books that are currently out, and the 4th book we refer to as the Christmas special because there's no conflict and it's very short, and it's kind of like experiencing the first 70 to 100 pages of these books where it's just kind of like nothing. That's kind of the feeling of it. And then the next book after that, some people say it's their favorite and they love it, and it's like, and then some people have told me they really don't like it, and I'm in that period of reading where I've totally put it to the side because I can't get through it, but I know it's going to get so much better. And that's what happens with these books. So if you're reading one and you're like 40 pages in or 18 pages in and can't get through it.
I've been reading The Throne of Glass, and I'm on like chapter 5, and
it's her style.
I'm still like, I need to get into it. I need to work for it. I don't want to. But
it's a lot.
Yeah. I want to read that book, and I am very much looking forward to it. It's just I'm having trouble getting through the first like 50 pages.
You know what else I desperately wanted to talk about with these books, and I know you're gonna love this, is not love it because it's like a frustrating thing, but you're like, you've got the same emotion I have here, is that I read somewhere that while this first book is like a very often banned book, and then the second book is more banned than this book is, which is wild. Insane. Like, to me, like that is so interesting and so indicative of a book banning culture, because this, I'm telling you, this book is all about breaking out of like toxic relationships. It's all about like kind of like how a woman could be oppressed and like not know it and not be aware of it. And
that one's more important. And
this one has much more important
like, themes to it. And if you just read the first book, it's like, well, this is a fun like fairy adventure, but like there's not that much to it unless you read the second book with it.
It's so critical, and I read that so it's banned for explicit content, understandable.
I mean,
and
they both have
violence.
Explicit content.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I'm trying to like be reasonable listening to it.
Actually, the first book is more violent than the second.
Well, what I was gonna say is, to me, violence, not an issue. It's like definitely not enough violence to justify banning. Like, it's because of explicit content, but the 2 books both have essentially the same explicit content. There might be like slightly more.
There's just a
little bit more in the second book, but like it, like the fact that they would justify banning this book and keeping this book. Oh, to me that like really says something, because it's basically like saying they want to keep a woman in that mindset. And like the breaking free of it, and like seeing her worth with a partner who values her, and like, I've got some feelings about that. I got very strong feelings about that. Do you have any more thoughts, Bailey?
I did, but then they're lost now. They're just gone.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up. I would love to hear if you've read these books, if you have any other thoughts on them. I'd love to hear your casting choices, because that's so much fun for me. I love to hear like who you would see being in each character, or like ideas you would have for casting them. And if there are any other book recommendations you have, we definitely need to finish this series, because I've got the last one to do still. And we need to read Throne of Glass. Like, I know we need to read those.
I definitely, like, I really want to.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it's on the agenda. But if there are any other books that you really think we should read, or think we would like, we'd love to hear them. And I
actually have it in my backpack right now.
Bailey came prepared for reading breaks. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.